We gather here at the Toronto Summer Institute in San Diego in July of 2015 for 5 days of exploration and collaboration to further understand how we build inclusive communities. Before you is a large image that encompasses the insight, wisdom, information, and the energy of the work we've been doing during this week. In the center of this large image that was drawn to honor the Colibri Aztec dancers that welcomed us into their land and gave us a little bit of insight into their culture through song, dance, and incense. Symbolically, the image represents the importance of keeping one center as we do the work of building inclusive communities. To have a clear understanding of who we are as people and to act from a place of centeredness. When we act from that place of strength, we have the capacity to create vibration. The vibration of our intention reaches out to impact other systems and other people. We welcome others into the work, and in doing so, we build and strengthen community. We opened with a welcome and an opening conversation with John O'Brien, who asked us to connect ourselves to each other through meaning, capacity, and direction. We talked about the importance of heart and peace and family and love and being present, recognizing that the future, the restless hope, and the gratitude comes from acts of radical inclusion. Being open-minded and making connections and stepping out of one's comfort zone. We heard insights and words from John McKnight about our beloved Judith Snow. She often encouraged us to not just improve one's life, but to change it, living fully in the invitation that we have been given for a dance that has meaning. Her inquiry to her father about living through a life of adversity prompted her to ask him, "Why are you keeping me alive?" And his response, "In time, maybe you'll find out." We all benefited from her many gifts. Judith as artist, a teacher, a biblical scholar, an advocate, and a partner. We heard from Erwin, who biked across the USA to participate in the Summer Institute. It's important to let the outsider in and look for gifts, to ride for no cause, to have commitment and pride, and to love your work. He asked us to consider how we are corrupting the language of inclusion, the freedom of ignorance, recognizing that people surprise us all the time. When offering to pay his driver, the driver's response was, "If I accept payment, kindness will leave the world." Erwin also calls us to not be afraid to cross the county line. We heard from Ann Donnellan that there are two problems that we don't understand: the brain and the science field that is dominated by psychiatry and psychology. That we assume the problem is in the mind, but perhaps if we shut up, slow down, and try to find a person's rhythm, we can find the answers to some of the really difficult questions that people face. She says, "Some of my best days have been when I've been non-compliant. Remember that things are possible. Look at what we can do together." So where does this take us? This insight and wisdom that was represented by a few strong voices of our community. The call is to help people hold important questions and focus on our commonality. To take care of ourselves. Live a full life in the emotional, physical, and spiritual realms. It is important to create boundaries and be present. And that's how we can make ourselves present to the work of being in service to others. John and Beth encouraged us to create a social field where possibilities can grow. Acknowledging in our time that there is a reproduction of social exclusion going on. 90% of the work is letting go, 10% is letting come. We were asked, what is the story that I want to author, and who are my co-authors as I move forward? What needs to die and what needs to grow as we focus on people's highest purpose? When we do these things, the social field activates. It happens through the commitment to observe, and allow the inner knowing to emerge, to act instantly on what we sense to be true, to hold the dignity of risk, to start with small change. Using the language of liberation, we make a commitment to each other through continuous learning, to move from the firefighter to the gardener. The dignity of risk is all about radical inclusion. We can focus our energy on a few practices, methods, processes that can help us to strengthen our community, to strengthen our social field where possibilities grow. We can use person-centered planning, the art of facilitation, listening with our whole body, building a safe container in the right environment, and helping people see the vision. Making a strong commitment to listen and draw, we enter into the dance of facilitation. To quote Bud Withers, "You can't get to wonderful without passing through all right." What will strengthen our practice? We don't label the person, we see the person as we see everyone else. When we change perception, we change society. The art of mindfulness is about laughter and yoga, leaving my phone off, listening twice, taking care of the body, mind, and soul, filling the body with color, to call my mother, to make art, to weed, to garden, to be in nature, to be thankful, to call my friends, and to remember my center and be present in my feet. So how can we take what's been learned here at the Summer Institute and apply it in our communities? Look for the golden cipher. Act in an instant, take small steps, and have patience. And lastly, we end with some words of encouragement from Patrick Tuohy. We have much in common with the salmon. All our best beginnings were tiny and fragile and built upon the sacrifices of others. Like the salmon, we were all born in different places, different streams, with a power within that pushed us to grow, to search for the deeper waters. All of us are different in shape and color and are seeking deeper water for food and life. The little streams took us to larger rivers where we found ourselves thrashing in the shallows, and on the surface where we are most clumsy and vulnerable, where fear, mistrust, and manipulation tear at the water. There are none of us without scars or parts missing. It is only in the deeper water that we find our companions swimming alongside us. The journey is full of dangers. It requires everything in us to get back to the place where we began. But in the deeper water is where the swimming is smoother and where there is room for everyone. So let us stay in the deeper waters where we can continue the work of building inclusive communities. Thank you.